and the pronoun squad doesn't care, you're blowing my mind.
Yeah, I'm sure that the extremely physically fit crew at your local game shop is running back and forth to restock the shelves. Extremely like ultra warrior do is start crying as a woman, and it's like, are you guys serious? What are you doing
now we
right
have
now?
crying in Warhammer. Yay! Oh boy, always wanted that. Yeah.
And I still think it's a really interesting experiment. If it doesn't mean anything, then why are you saying anything? Like, why aren't you just ignoring what we're doing? Instead, it's pissing them off, which means we must be doing something right here. Meanwhile, almost 3 weeks since Custodes pre-order, the Custodes individual releases are still sitting at the numbers listed above.
Where are those boxes still weeks later?
You still didn't arrive, yeah?
Yeah, that's also something that we shouldn't forget and should factor in this investigation.
If they had a W for this topic, they would absolutely be putting out the numbers.
Out of everything that we know about the female Custodes, how the audience sees them, and we're talking about, of course, the OG Warhammer fans, people that are new to the hobby, people that are actually clearly woke, we have information about all of these because, of course, I have my 40K channel and I have over like about 700 comments in between my latest videos, or actually more if we include the latest video. We can see what is the general consensus about the female Custodes. And as you know, even in politics, people, media is trying to make some polls to determine whether or not party is popular or whatever. They're making some assumptions of how a certain party is going to perform in elections. And it's kind of like that when you do polls for movies. What does the audience say? What's the general consensus about a certain movie? So we were trying to do an investigation, kind of like that, to get an idea of how the female Custodes are selling. But we don't have actual information released from GW. So for sure, we're not trying to claim concrete numbers. But what we are trying to do here, literally, is to hear the people, to give everybody voice, which is very important, like I've said, from all sides, new, old fans, and even the woke people, and see what they think about the female Custodes, which of course can lead to conclusions whether or not they would be selling or no. So we are going to try to take a look at all of that, the aspects of all of that, and of course we're going to take a look at what happened with my poll and my posts. So let's dig in, guys, because that's kind of like a deep dive. So I made this post and I pinned it to my profile. It got 57K, and this picture was provided from one of you, Demolition Dude. As you can see, I mean, I wanted a better picture, but that's what we have. That here in the middle is the female Custodes line, and it's sitting on the shelf. People pointed out that, well, they're sitting on the shelf, but hey, there's Coca-Cola sitting on the shelf. Are you gonna say that Coca-Cola is not selling? I'm like, guys, that's totally different.
Wow.
Coca-Cola is restocking all the time, and it's a drink product. It has nothing to do with this. Also, let's not forget there are many reporting that they didn't even get them, so that still was prevalent in all the reports. So here is that topic. Okay, here is the poll on YouTube. 96% say no, they're still on the shelves. Actual 96%. And of course, take this with a grain of salt, but that's what people are reporting. So we can go on people's reports about this. 144 votes, which is still something. There's not, of course, this is not encompassing the millions of people, but whoever saw this and they had any report, they said this. As you can see here, real quick, option 3, we never got them. I don't have Warhammer stores, but female Space Marines are heresy. Well, I replied female Space Marines are out of the question for now. According to GW itself, we are talking about female Custodes. So yeah, some people still are mistaking female Space Marines with female Custodes. Then, by the way, there's one short from Dawn and Dawn, Flash Kids, who said,
"How have the Custodians been around for almost 40 years without there ever being a mention of female Custodes?"
This was done. This was Games Workshop. They were doing one of these.
Dipping their toes into the water
to see what would happen if we did female Space Marines.
Basically that female Custodes are like the test that GW is making for for future change for the Space Marines, which that is what they say, of course. Many people actually think that. But what GW said recently was that Space Marines are only male. So at least they said it in a
Let's
direct
hope
line.
it do stay like that.
Yeah, they said it, but of course, I talked to other people. They said that's probably bullcrap. They're gonna change them anyways. It's possible, of course, but that's what we have right now. So I stopped playing GW for my models years ago. I don't like to pay scammers. I doubt many of them were even made. GW are notorious for creating artificial scarcity. Not only GW.
Not only.
To be fair, that's something that many companies do. By the way, Toonami, you can interrupt me in any moment if you wish, if you have something to add, because I'm just going through the things that are like shorter, and then we're gonna get to Twitter and actually give it to you, so we can take a look at what is the most interesting and prominent there.
Okay.
So this guy says lots of retailers don't get boxes. It's like they underproduced. Yeah, that is what everybody were reporting at the beginning. Yeah, option 3 has to be never made it to the store. This guy says I'm not going to travel 2 hours to the LGS, 2 hours back, a parking gas in our capital to take a photo of what I know they're fully stacked on. Okay, so this guy, you know, thinks that they're stacked on, but are they selling? You know, we don't know.
That's the other thing, yeah.
I have not seen any of the shops I frequent, zero being offered. The store I went to doesn't look like he ordered any in the first place. Or maybe they never got them. I mean,
Maybe
option 3 never arrived again. And this guy says, my store has pretty good sized pronoun squad. That's one of the most interested comments, actually. So hold on.
Squad.
Yeah, pronoun squad. So, my store has pretty good sized pronoun squad that frequented, and none of them gave 2 craps girl studies. The guys I know that wanted updated kits basically used them to kick bash upgrade their 40k studies. No one plays heresy here, despite a lot of people owning heresy armies. I'm pretty sure they only got a few of them that were pre-ordered, and I say, so the guys that actually bought them probably use them for parts only? That is kind of hilarious, and the pronoun squad doesn't care? You're blowing my mind. So he replied, my local store has a lot of LGBTQ nerd community, and none of us have ever had any issues, but the guys that got the Custodes, okay, 40k technically, they're all heresy models, so it's a minority for sure, at least where I'm the bot them. I'm sorry guys, I mean, this is a very bad English. Heresy isn't as popular over compared to 40k, even AOS is a distant second.
Age of Sigma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting. I mean, that's based on the region, but what is funny is just that, you know, the LGBTQ people are not really that interested. Maybe they're not interested in Custodes in general, but wouldn't they be very thrilled that this happened and they can buy them for history's sake? Be like, hey, this change happened, we support it, so we should support it by giving them money. So they didn't actually want to give their money for female Custodes. That's kind of weird.
Well, that just shows that they're actually not going to support changes like that. They're just words with no actions.
I mean, that's
If they're
how it
not buying
seems.
them, yeah.
That's how it seems.
Whatever is bought there, it was for parts. So even if something went out of the stores, apparently it was just used for parts and not to actually use the models for what they're supposed to be.
Yeah, seems so. So now, Toonami, we're actually going to the post. So yeah, take it away.
Okay, your post was, I'm gathering pics of female Custodes, still sitting on the shelves. This one is the very first from Demolition Dude on YouTube. If he has X, I'll tag him here. So we can all know what is actually happening with sales for the Femstodes. Please post your pics if you have some. It's an original post. Going into it, you say several people on YouTube still report that their stores never got them, but if you have pics like that, please post them here. I will do a video when enough information is gathered. And it goes right into it. The Goob Father says, my friend runs a hobby store. He said he had about 10 people asking him to order some of the new Femstodes. He told me he tried to order 11. He always keeps one of everything for himself and got 4. He bought one for himself and the other 3 are still sitting. Anecdotal, but he owns the store with his dad and plays 40k with me and our mutual friends all the time. Thank you for this info. Since GW is not releasing any numbers, this is the only way to get an idea of the sales. Also fan perception, which is 80-90% negative. Based on the 2 polls that I ran so far in my comment section on YouTube, the second poll, but I will be gathering info still. From the Lion himself, welcome back, sir. My local isn't selling it online at all, I don't think. Alchemist Workshop. Still selling Sisters of Silence, though. Awesome. Frost says, what about all the other models that are sitting on the shelves? They've been around for much longer. Probably they sold at the beginning, and the new shiny thing is just that. And if it's not selling well initially, it's just something to add to the overall reports. He continues, weird reasoning. It's fucking weird that people feel so threatened by tiny plastic figures with breath. Don't you have any actual real problems to worry about? Loser. Anyways, CR Ship says the largest retailer local to me actually no longer even carries any of GW's Horus Heresy line. It was failing to sell almost entirely. Good to know. Thank you, says you. Thus, it says both of my local shops only have the old models. Good to know. Thank you. My local is still selling the old minis. Haven't seen the new ones. Damn. What I predicted came to pass. You, what was that exactly? Him. What you have shown in the pic. No one wants that shit. True. If you still whine about female custodies, you are either a fucking dumbass or a tourist. Probably both. Hated it. Oh, here we go. Holy shitpost, or silent shitposting. Holy fuck, the Space Marines are selling terribly. This is a catastrophe. No one wants them anymore. Nice one, dude. Totally owned. Note that ratio, though. 0 comments and only 33 likes. This is fucking weirdo. That's fine. Stores tend to restock their shelves. Maybe if you actually got a fucking job, you know that, and not look like such a window licker. It's amazing, too. Yeah, I'm sure that the fucking extremely physically fit crew at fucking your local game shop is running back and forth to restock the shelves. Stores tend to restock their shelves. Maybe if you actually got a... Okay, there he is again. I made this male solar watch custody. Sorry it ain't female. Nice. Okay, anecdotal here, but my local game store asked for 10 and got 3, and only 1 has been sold. Both local stores. I don't know how much more you want me to read of this. You want me to keep going?
I'm going to go quickly to the poll that I did as well, just to show.
So for everyone's information, as part of the chat here, though, looking up some of these Doom posters and people that wanted to talk shit, all you gotta do is go to their profile, and you'll see exactly what they're all about.
Yeah, for sure.
You're going to see pronouns you use.
Like, hang on, like Mrs. Millicent, witchy lesbianism. Mm-hmm. Awesome.
So now, what do you think? Do you think that those things are selling actually? Well, we can discuss it.
So basically what she was saying, from what I've gone around, like hunting videos and whatnot, people are reporting that they are doing what is referred to as kit bashing, where they're just taking them and they're augmenting their current armies with them and putting pieces together, whatnot. Do I think it's selling? I mean, sure, I guess. So some people play Heresy. I'm not a tabletop guy. I never fucking claimed to be. So I already know there's going to be lots of shit talking about that. But something I was talking to Empress about with this topic in general is just like, well, GW's not putting out numbers. We're just trying to fucking get a sense of what's going on around there. And if it didn't matter so much, then why are all these people coming around talking shit?
Exactly, yes.
So
why are they so mad about
really
it?
like,
Yeah, if it
exactly.
really doesn't
So
matter.
like, we touched the nerve. They don't like it. And the word chud must have been used at least 3 different times as I was just scrolling through comments, which is pretty funny. And as soon as someone says the word chud, I already know who I'm dealing with.
Indeed, yeah. And as you said,
So is it going to be a thing? I think she spoke with Chainsword about this, and he made mention of the fact, too, that like this is a lot like Hollywood, where they're seeing the damage that they've caused, and possibly they're trying to turn the boat around somewhat. I don't think it's ever going to be 100% or anything like that. They're still going to be lefty freaks. But I think they're trying to turn the boat, but it's going to take forever to fucking make it happen. So similar to what Chainsaw had to say, I agree. I think that we're going to see more of this female dog shit coming out where they're literally just trying to piss people off. That's it.
yeah.
But they've taken, they got pretty quiet after like the initial fucking launch of this thing, and the recent version of this a couple months ago happened. And so, yeah, I don't know. I guess we're going to have to see, but I don't have a lot of hope for it. I think it's just going to be a lot more trash coming out, trash novels. It goes back to like the book, the excerpt from the book where they introduced the female custody. And the first thing that they had this extremely like ultra warrior do is start crying as a woman. And it's like, are you guys serious? What are you doing
now we
right
have
now?
crying in Warhammer. Hey, oh boy, always wanted that. Yeah.
You're emotionless fucking character who you're like, they've always been female, is suddenly having a fucking like a cry fest. Shut the fuck up.
By the way,
Those?
speaking about lefties, we had a comment in the last stream on the Superhero channel that apparently we are left voters. Because we don't understand Superman and Zack Snyder is a cancer and things like that. And the guy said, from what I can hear you saying, all of you are left voters. Said, how
What?
exactly, if we like Snyder, how are we left voters?
What
Jesus
the fuck is
Christ,
he
yeah.
talking about?
I have
So
no idea.
that's a
I'll
problem that we
answer
have in the
later.
United
Just-
States.
I just saw it in the
There's
morning.
That's crazy. There's a big problem in the United States between. We've had obviously leftism is
Yeah.
the real.
To comment on the last
shit.
stream on the Superhero channel,
Yes.
basically. So
Yeah.
yeah, and the guy said that our take is so bad that we're probably lefties.
Yeah.
So saying
so
that
weird.
Zack Snyder is a cancer before that, and I say, so you don't like Snyder? We are lefties anyway. Yeah.
So, do not forget. Okay. Do not forget about the poll that I also took on Twitter about the female studies. Are they selling? Because that was another way for me to reach people. 23 votes only. I mean, 60% says yes, they sold out, and no, they still there at 39, which is interesting. So we have
Compared to the YouTube.
compared to the
results, yeah.
YouTube, it's totally different. We don't know how many of these people are telling the truth in general.
Yeah.
In general, we just don't know. So take that as you will. There's some comments like right here. Hold on. I did say about the pictures, but this is what we have. Custodes have barely moved since the red compost. This guy says, you know what, Hammer releases don't just sell out and they aren't available, right? You know, they continue to be available for people to buy. Yeah, sure, but you know, we are gonna get
How exactly?
talking about that. We are going to get to actually what Chainsword said. So tonight we're just gonna get to Chainsword to finish this up in general because his points are important. And again, this is a very interesting case study, but we do aim to still be objective. It seems like they flopped at the beginning. They may still be a flop, but for concrete numbers, we don't have that. But we can still make some assumptions at least based on what we see. Not really boots on the ground, says this person, but I found this female custody sold out. Ironically enough, in the description of the product, she is called a German word for he.
Air.
Air? Air. Ah, okay, you're the German guy.
If anyone thought that we were gonna get like this is the hard facts or anything like that, like that's retarded. It's basically like no one's talking about this. We got no other information, so we're just going in a direction where we can see what people think, and that's it. And I still think it's a really interesting experiment. And I was mentioning to Logan, like all these people are like, "You're never gonna blah blah." Like, if it doesn't mean anything, then why are you saying anything? Like, why aren't you just ignoring what we're doing? Instead, it's pissing them off, which means this might all be shit. Might all be fucking for something. It doesn't matter. It's pissing people off, and if that's what's happening, like, we must be doing something fucking right here. If for nothing else, then it is to fucking go ahead and show people, like, hey, the community's still here. We're not just laying down taking it, and so that's that. So that's all I could say about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Indeed.
For sure. I mean, nobody else is doing this. We are the only ones. So I'm actually proud of that. Okay, let's show what Chainsword says now on the screen. So basically, I was telling him, for context, I was telling him what we were doing. He saw the post. He saw how people replied. He also wanted to know what is our end goal. I explained that the goal was to get an idea of what's happening, boots on the ground reports, and we are well aware that this is not final or solid information, but the point was to keep conversation going, of course. And since everybody, I mean, people that cover this, most people on YouTube that covered this finalized everything by saying they're a flop, and I also did a video with the first reports coming in, but I didn't finalize it there. I decided to continue and investigate. That's the difference. So I explained to him that. And then I said, I want to see what is happening in the locations worldwide. I knew from the beginning that it wasn't going to be anything concrete, but the goal is also to see fans' opinions, reactions, and coming from a wide pool. And of course, this post that I made, 57k people saw it. That's pretty substantial. And whoever wanted it commented. Whoever had any desire to participate, they did, from whatever side. So he said basically to me that a better indicator would be how many limited box sets were available in stores and how many sold within the same time range compared to another limited box set. But it's probably too late for that, and I asked how can we do that? So he replied what you see on the screen. So Tsunami, take it away.
From Chainsword 40K. Well, we could take store stock info as an example. I can give you some hard numbers from one store. The store this info is from currently has the following in stock. Caladius Annihilator Grav Tank, 5 boxes. Coronis Grav Carrier, 13 boxes. Custodian Dreadnought, 3 boxes. Custodian Guard Sodality, 25 boxes. Sentinel Guard Sodality, 8 boxes. Shield Captain, 3 boxes. Ventari Sodality, 5 boxes. Remind me in 2 weeks and I can tell you how much was sold. As of how much boxes was allocated at first depends on the kit, from 5 up to 25. Regarding the Custodes limited box, the store had 5 boxes and sold them all. But if we look at another limited box set, the Armageddon Battalion Astra Militarum box set, they had 25 units allocated and sold all of them within a week of pre-order. It is hard to say how much the Custodes box would have sold with the same allocation. As a fun fact, not really an indicator of anything, the same store got 25 boxes of Commissar Graves and sold them all a week before it was released. So 1 week after pre-order went live. Meanwhile, almost 3 weeks since Custodes pre-order, the Custodes individual releases are still sitting at the numbers listed above. The best-selling Custodes model was the Dreadnought, and the worst was the Custodian Guard Sodality, which has not sold a single box. I can't get a lot of hard numbers from other stores, like I mentioned some time ago, because it's business and people don't like sharing numbers with the competition. So in the end, it's just a rough outline. Another fun fact, the store I mentioned will at best get an allocation of 5 of the new KT box sets despite it selling like crazy. So in the end, it's all subjective. Keep in mind that some stores received around 5 boxes of each individual Custodes release, so they may have sold all of them. Come to think of it, we should also factor allocation into this. So in the end, all of this is subjective and kind of meaningless. I know that Custodes don't sell well because I've talked with many people, but we can't prove it. Unless we get hard data from GW, all of this will just be speculation. Also, a sad realization is that GW is so deep into DEI and woke that it will take at least 2 to 3 years for them to change course. Even if they decide to do it now. Fastest we could see any effects would be around 12th edition at best. So expect more stuff like Female Custodes and all that, especially if DEI stuff keeps selling. This also includes games, the Amazon show, and everything else. GW is almost lost to the woke virus, and it would take either a miracle, a change in management, or getting close to bankruptcy to shift direction. None of those seem very likely. Of course, I still hope the Overton window will shift so dramatically that GW will have to let go of ESG and DEI, but you have to wonder if it's ever going to go back to how things were. At this point, GW is like the ship of Theseus. Nothing of the original remains. End.
God. Okay.
Good.
That is super informative and awesome. So thank you so much, Chainsaw 40K, for once again getting us some insights that we otherwise wouldn't have gotten at all. So what is interesting and standing out for me out of all of this, before I forget, is exactly this. So a fun fact, not really an indicator for anything. The same store got 25 boxes of Commissar Graves and sold them all. Yeah, sold them all week before it will be released. So 1 week after pre-order went live. Meanwhile, almost 3 weeks since Custodes pre-order, the Custodes individual releases are still sitting in the numbers listed above. To me, it's just that some things in Warhammer are popular than others.
Yeah.
So that is just what stands out to me. I mean, you can't exactly say it's because they're female and they're Custodes. The Custodes in general maybe are not as popular as
not as
Commissar
popular, yeah.
Graves, boxes, whatever. That also could be true. But it's just a thing that anything else will sell better.
Yeah, maybe not as many people play Custodes actually.
Yeah, that
So-
too.
so
That too.
that's-
That
yeah.
too. So again, I aim to be objective. This is just a fun fact. So take of that what you will, but still, he is an industry veteran. He talks with many people. So he did say, I know that Custodes don't sell well because I talk with many people. Well, we can prove it. Yeah. My conclusion so far is this, that based on all the polls and the 2 and so weeks that we have been gathering information, the Custodes, I would say most people, because that's how it seems, most people are absolutely against them. Like 90% of people, based on everything that we took so far as information, like 90% of people don't like female custodies. We know that many people are now on the internet because, sometimes people use this argument that, oh, internet is not the same as real world. Well, everybody and their freaking grandma is on the internet. There's literally people in my demographic that watch my videos that are up to 60 and more sometimes. And those are exactly the OGs as well. So there's people from all ages, from 18 to 60 something, that are on the internet and they're actively sometimes participating in everything. And if they say that, female custodies are not what we like, are not what we want, and this is crap, then they're not gonna buy them. That still represents the tip of the iceberg of what's actually below, which is, still the tip is a reflection of what is below. That's what I mean. To me, from everything that we so far know, female custodies surely are not popular. We cannot say how much they sold, but we can say that they're not popular because anything else is more popular. That is just what it seems. We can only say, yeah, that's how it seems, and that's probably correct. And maybe we're never going to actually know, but all of those are signals. All of those are signals to something that it is there as information, but those are signals of that. So, Tsunami, how do you gather all of this information?
Again, I'm going to go ahead and use Hollywood as a reference to this. There's a small vocal minority that screams fucking out loud left and right all over fucking online spaces. But when it comes time to fucking put your wallet out there, they always seem to come up short. So that's one thing that I fucking learned about this. If I'm pretty sure if this was a hot seller and GW had a lot of faith in it, they'd put those numbers out there just to go ahead and quote unquote own the chuds. So that's one thing that I know. Can I prove it? No, but that's what I think. The poll itself proves that this is an extremely unpopular opinion or unpopular decision on GW's part. But I think the thing that really pisses them off the most is they want to twist this into some misogynistic argument, but the entire community has said, where are Sisters of Battle? Where are Sisters of Silence? We love females in the female spaces where they're supposed to be. Don't fuck with that. And it wrecks their fucking narrative, and they don't know what to do with it. And that's why they keep saying things in your comments like, if a couple of plastic breasts are bothering you. No, dude, that argument's not going to fucking work either, because everyone that we fucking polled or spoken to, I haven't seen anyone say anything like, girls are stupid and stinky. It's, no, they don't belong in this faction only, and it wrecks the fucking narrative. And that's what we've seen. So we got to see where it goes from there.
With that, with exactly,
because they can't twist it.
Yeah, maybe they're really not as popular as we said the custodies in general, for some players, and that's why they decided we're going to test the water over here to see what will happen.
Yeah. So look at this. I just want to make a comparison between this poll and the other poll. So on YouTube, 144 people voted. Here on X, only 23 voted. So what is more prevalent is this poll. Yeah. So no, they're sitting on the show says 96 people and 4% say they sold out. So this beats the other poll. It has how many more times of people voted here? A lot more.
And again, by the way, speaking of popularity, as Tsunami said, if they were so popular and really hot selling, they were going to stock more of these. Because again, other companies do that. If you have popular character from franchise, you in a case, let's say you have a wave of figures. In the case that the stock will order, you have three figures per case of the popular character, one of the other guys. So they do know, the companies do know, this one is popular, we stock more of that. If the wave is 5 figures, you stock 3 per case, and if I buy a whole case, I got a better chance to get 3 of those. So again, maybe here is the same thing. They do know it's not that popular, so we're just going to stock 3, 2.
It's a very good indicator what companies do, how they behave. So you can make an assumption, very educated guess based on how they behave themselves, even if they don't release concrete numbers. So that's what we are also getting at. You can see the behavior of the company. You can see that they didn't deliver on the orders. We had that information even before we gathered all of this information. We had the other information that we covered, that reports were coming and actual store owners were reporting how they didn't get the orders that they made towards GW of the Female Custodes boxes. So we have this artificial scarcity that GW were creating. We have the stores saying we never get our boxes. Now we have weeks later people. That's weeks later, guys. People that say we never even got them. So what the heck happened? It seems like GW underproduced. If they overproduced, if they produced enough, why not deliver those boxes weeks later? They try to say it's a logistical error, but where are those boxes still weeks later?
They still didn't arrive, yeah.
Yeah, that's also something that we shouldn't forget and should factor in this investigation. Right, Tsunami?
These freaks will fucking throw a fucking parade/riot about anything that they disagree with. And any win they get, they are more than happy to throw parties all over social media. If they had a W for this fucking topic, they would absolutely be putting out the fucking numbers. There's no fucking way in the world this filth would not be fucking being like, ha ha, chuds, we showed you. So they're fucking obfuscating for a reason. That's my opinion, of course. Don't sue me, bro.
Yeah, the thing is that what we know for a fact that they don't have a W.
Yeah.
They don't have a W. So what is it then? That that reminds me really quickly. I'm just gonna say that really quickly. That reminds me of what happened to Superman, the movie. The box office.
Yeah,
This is a pretty good comparison.
That's a good example, yeah.
Every freaking time that we had any movie in history that we know the raw numbers for, they said this movie is a success because it made this much in the box office. Compare this to the budget and the marketing, all factoring the budget for the marketing and the budget of making the movie, everything factored in. This movie made money because look at the box office, look at how much money it made on top of that. So it's a success based on this and this. We don't have that with Superman 2025. It took months to finally be like, it's here and there, it lost money, didn't. It's here and there, lost money, didn't. We can't say it, we can't admit it. Well, okay, it lost money. And then all of a sudden, here comes Netflix boss. And he says in front of a court, 2025, Superman, yeah, it underperformed. Yeah. Finally, because he has to say it. He has to say it. But in this movie, they decided to hide it non-stop, to go around it, to just, not be direct, to be like, oh, it's a success. Like multiple articles were made in the support of the movie and how it was such a freaking amazing success. And we all knew that was bullcrap. And then real comparisons came out between, the movie and Man of Steel. So you always have to compare with everything that you know to actually realize what's happening. But also, when you see how they behaved for this movie, for Superman 2025, you see that if this was a win, this all being around the bush, trying to avoid it, trying to whatever, circle around it, making 500 maneuvers in terms of articles for months, that will not be happening. They would just say this movie is a success.
Yeah.
We will know raw numbers. Yeah. So similar to this, the woke side doesn't know if Female Custodes are a success. We also don't know, but at least what we have is all the freaking reports from different people, all the polls of their popularity, how they're viewed in general, how people are perceiving them in general, which is still a very good indication.
Also, no reports of scalpers buying out what is in the stores. That usually also happens at the beginning.
And that's a pretty good point.
People will say, oh, scalpers bought everything, so that they can sell it. No reports of that.
Yeah.
No reports of that. I even saw... here I saw reports of a new series of Lego minifigures that people said the scalpers are buying out this and this minifigure. And I said, well, wait a minute, there's no reports of the fem stories for that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're even thinking Lego has scalpers.
Okay.
It was going to happen here, yeah. And that again was going to be indication. Scalpers would know that, oh, wait a minute, people will want that, so let's buy it out and then sell it.
Yeah, Tsunami, I think that those are pretty good points.
Yeah, they're fantastic points. I'm just going to go ahead and be extra cringy here. No W for you guys. You got an L for LGBTQ plus lots of talk, $0.
Yeah.
Suck it, nerds.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Indeed.
one last point. I don't know where it is. I couldn't find it now. But there is one particular post. Some guy posted basically the old Warhammer lore with, I mentioned that before, but we never got to it. Like one type of a Tyranid and another type of a Tyranid. So basically he's like, well, this was retcon. So what do you care about female custodies being retcon? Those are not the same things. Like we said before, you have to be able to tell the difference between adding to the lore and totally replacing something, putting it there, integrating it in the middle of things, and try to rewrite the whole history so you can fit it there. Has nothing to do with that. Also, when you think about the Necrons, they had a very poor lore. It was not complete. It was not fleshed out. Well, they did it. They fleshed it out. They created a lot more around them. They completed them as a faction in terms of lore. It's not the point if you like it or not. The point is how it was made. The principle was that they added things. They built it like a house. With the Custodes, they took one brick that's pretty big. It's not fitting anywhere. It's not like the other bricks. It's not a different shape and sizes. And you kick a hole in the house and you put that brick over there, kick it with your foot, and you're like, there. This totally fits now.
It's like when Johnny Bravo was trying to fit a circle inside a square.
Yeah, circle inside the square. Exactly, but he took a hammer, he tried to fit it, it didn't happen. So, that's how this is. It's not just an addition, it's going way back. I mean, going, back to 30K and saying, yeah, they were here the whole time. They were crying for the Emperor. Like one literally was like shocking. Like she was like, poor Emperor. I'm like, what are you doing? You're a custody.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway. So yeah, the point is they did all of that flip-flopping, bending over backwards to do all of those things just to fit them in, and that's not okay. If they were created since the very freaking beginning, we will all be like, yay, female custodies, because then it's going to be equal to how they wrote, Sisters of Silence, Sisters of Battle. They are going to be equal in terms of the fact that they were there. They were created, they were fleshed out since the very beginning. There was not just one male faction of the Custodes. They were always like both, both genders were there. But we don't have that. So it's not like we have anything against women. It's not like we have anything against the female Custodes if they were written since the very beginning. No, we have against the fact that something is integrated in the lore where it does not belong, because we already have the 40-year history of Warhammer. We already have that, just like Flash gets pointed out as well. We're just shoehorning in this for no reason, that inclusion from a modern perspective, and we are not in the 40K, we do not live in this fantasy world. You should keep the fantasy world as it is. What works there, the rules that live there, that created it, that built it, that made it what it is, that should be intact, not be impacted by what we have today. Should not be impacted by what we have today. Otherwise, it is no longer Warhammer. That is why this change breaks everything, and it's not just a little change, and you can't handle it because they're women. It has nothing to do with the freaking gender of whoever it is. Only has to do with 40K, and if you love 40K and you want to protect the lore and you love it how it was, you will see that. But if you don't, if you only want to integrate stuff there for integration, inclusion's sake, then you're more a fan of this inclusion politics and worldview than you are of Warhammer. And that's a fact. That's it.
That's actually a hard cold fact.
Yeah.
For the imperium must not fail. Imperium we prevail. The warriors march with sacred might. Their purpose burning crystal bright. To lift the throne world from its plight and guard humanity's light.